Well, good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening, traders from across the globe. Thank you so much for tuning into my 2592nd edition of Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar Carboni. And of course, we always have a long-term view. But in these videos, it's for short-term trading, what should happen in the next 24 hours. Before we get started, for what's happening on June 21st, 2023, that's a Wednesday, I want to remind you of the risks involved in trading. This is a very risky game. Never trade without stops. Put them in first. I am 43, maybe 44 years doing this, and there are times that if I didn't have a stop in, might have been my last trading day. So make sure you put your stops in. It's very dangerous. All right, so a lot of topics on this board. Let's see. First thing is, when we see a double top, we sell a double top. Now, I showed you charts in last night's video and said, look, coming out of the 3-day holiday weekend, you've got a NASDAQ possible double top and an absolute Microsoft double top. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. The markets pulled back today. So that did work. We are expecting, all right, my OMNI for trading S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, the usual gamut. Basically, the OMNI's pushed me off to the side and said, Oscar, you're out of this trade. Don't take it. But I've got one only indice that the OMNI said it's okay to take that one. All right, so we might end up short anyway in one of the indices. The rest of them, the OMNI's kind of waved me off. So we'll see how that pans out for trading on Wednesday. I know there are other things that look great. Gold looks ugly and Bitcoin don't. So gold looks like a great trade on the downside. Bitcoin looks like a great trade on the upside. And kids, as you know, Bitcoin, April 2021, I gave you a target of 85,000 Bitcoin. We're almost there. We got 3 years to go. 85,000 Bitcoin. It will get there. So we've got that out of the way, right? When we see a double top, we sell one. That happened. Now we got to see what transpires next. We'll take it one day at a time. Gold, I think you can sell rallies. Bitcoin, you can buy dips. And then OmniCamp on the road. Traders, I'm getting applications. I was right. So you guys don't want to come to Vegas, but as soon as I mentioned I'll come to you, the applications are coming in out of the woodwork. So it looks like I'm going to get to travel. Make sure you fill out an OmniCamp application. If you want to learn this from me in your town, fill out an OmniCamp application at omnibootcamp.com and make sure in the comments you tell me what town you're from and where you would like for me to perform the Omni, and I can bring OmniCamp to you. OmniCamp still being held here in Las Vegas. There is one scheduled for July 14th through the 17th. That will be here. That's a 4-day, 5-night event held here in Las Vegas in my home office. If you want to be part of that training session, that OmniCamp, again, omnibootcamp.com, let me know that you want to take the camp in Vegas. So we've gotten that out of the way. We talked about the double tops and where this can go. I'll show you on charts where we go next, most likely. Gold looks ugly. Bitcoin don't. Omni on the road. Hooray, hooray. Keep sending in your applications. Then there's this. I've had many questions over the last few years, and some of them are from sort of panicked people. And they say, Oscar, aren't you worried that the petrodollar or the Chinese challenge to the US dollar, whatever you want to call it, is a real threat and may start to replace the US dollar? And from the first time I ever heard this stupid question till today, I've always had the same answer. It's a common sense point of view, and my answer has always been the same. Let's put this in a different light. You are a sovereign fund manager. You've got the funds of a couple of $1 trillion of another country smaller than the US, let's say something in Africa, Asia, wherever. You are the sovereign fund manager, which means you've got to take that government's money and invest it in places where the government is still a government next year. Okay, so if you are going to invest the money that if it doesn't come back, your country is gone, where will you invest it? And here was my question to them. Would you invest it with this group called Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and they let Iran in too? So Iran, South Africa, India, Russia, China, Brazil, or would you put that money in a group called the United States of America, Europe, Australia, Canada, and now Mexico? where would you put your money? That's what I would say to them. Where would you put that money? Would you put it with the Middle East and Asia and whatever the hell is going on over there that is never normal? Or would you put it in a spot where at least you know you're going to get paid back? So that's always been my answer. There is no shot these petrodollars will ever have a chance to take over US dollars in our time. And then something fantastic happens this weekend. I start reading the papers, doing my usual, I got to do it Monday instead of Sunday because we had Monday off. And after plowing through the papers, guess what I learned? Well, plus other places where I research. I learned that the bank that China created, the Development Bank of China, for this petrodollar is basically bankrupt, broke, no longer gives out loans, and is under investigation. The whole thing fell apart. Was I right about that or what? Where would you put your money? Now, as far as China's concerned, you know, they've got a real estate meltdown going on right now, way worse than we've seen in 2008-9. Their belt and road infrastructure, the wheels are flying off. They're in a little bit of financial trouble, so I don't think they're taking over the US dollar at this moment in time. Stop worrying about that, kids. The bank is just about out of business. What else? We've got another piece of business to discuss. The OMNI figures are in for the month of May. This is June, right? Yes, for the month of May. Now, I put out trade recommendations. They go out to people all over the world. You cannot retract back what you've sent to people all over the world. And you know what else you can't do? When you add it up, you cannot make believe you won when you lost, right? I send it out. There is no retracting it. You all over the world know if I'm lying or not. With that in mind, I do not calculate my OMNI myself. I've got two separate entities that calculate. They come up with their own figures. They meet. If their figures are exactly the same, they come and tell me, and then I get to tell you. So for this month, the month of May, can I have that, please? Drum roll, please. The OMNI made $5,202.50 for the month. If you took, you can clap for that. Go for it, baby. If you took every single OMNI trade last month, now that means you cannot hesitate. You can't pull up a chart when an OMNI trade comes out and says get in the market. You can't pull up a chart and see if OMNI is going to be right. That's you bastardizing what an OMNI platform should be treated like. What you need to do is follow every single trade, and if you do, last month you would have made $5,202.50. That puts us up $19,510 for the year. And it's only half the year, and I'll tell you what, that's a small portion compared to what we usually have per year. So I'm assuming the better part of this year will come on the second half of the year. OMNI will do even better than it did the first half. Because in my 43 years, there were times on the trading floor that literally from January all the way up until July, August, just getting killed. Slow markets, can't trade them properly, the business isn't doing well. And then the next 3 months, you make your entire year. Well, that has happened to me for 43 straight years. It happens at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, sometimes in the summer, sometimes the end of the year. I never know when it's coming, but it always comes our way. Thank you, OMNI. So OMNI's had a great month this month so far and is looking to have a great year like it always does. If you would like those recommendations in real time sent to you, now we're not jumping in and out. We're not trading 20 times a day. That's for newcomers and people that think they know the market better than it knows itself. We set up a trade. If it gets filled, we take it. We get out by the end of the day at a profit objective or a stop or out at the end of the day. If it doesn't get filled, we don't trade that day. So it's not labor intensive, but you've got to take every trade when they come out. If you'd like that, those are called the real-time live, real-time recommendations, my platinum service. Just go to livewithoscar.com. Try it for 3 months. It's literally the price of about a cup of coffee a day. It's $4 and change a day to have me in your corner. Try it for 3 straight months. Take every trade. I promise you, you will be calling me Uncle Oscar. Give it a whirl. We'll see what happens. All right, so that's about it for the stuff I want to cover before I show you charts. Remember that gold looks ugly, Bitcoin does not, and we've got to take a little bit of a pause or continue with a short trade in NASDAQ, S&P, Russell. One of them, because of this double top, it has to have a reaction. Once that reaction's over, though, I believe we continue back up. In fact, with that in mind, you guys were hearing me in the live chat room today. I had the TV on. We have a down day, and I kid you not, they came out of the woodwork with every bearish analyst you can find. Everybody's talking about the end of the world today. And on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, they were talking about how the world was so good. So I don't know what that means, but I say let's take this one day at a time. We had a massive rally going. The Fed started raising rates. We got knocked down. The Fed stopped raising rates. We got a massive rally going. Makes sense, right, kids? Upside's going to happen the rest of this year. Nothing goes straight up, but that's where we're going. All right, so traders, let me grab the charts and show you some fantastic charts. I hope you like them. Remember, join me at livewithoscar.com, my trading room. It's a chat room. It is absolutely free to you. Come keep me company, babysit with me during the day, all right? I'm there day and night. Traders, that's it for now. Let's go look at some great charts. And remember to keep your emotions out of trading. There is one last thing to cover. If you've been watching Tales from the Pit, I left you with a very interesting story today, kids. The cliffhanger will happen. Well, the end of the cliffhanger should happen tomorrow. I mean, it might take more than one session to get it out, but wait until you hear how I had to become a broker. I kid you not. It's a worthy story. It's worth listening to. That is Tales from the Pit. Every day that I could get in front of that camera at 2 p.m. Eastern. Be there tomorrow for my live stream. Now, with no further ado, say this to yourselves over and over again, and then we'll look at some charts. Are you with me? 1, 2, 3. Stops are in. Like that little squiggle action. Emotions are where? Rock and roll, kids. Now let's go look at some charts. We're going with Bitcoin first because it looks the best. Look at this, what is probably a big old flag. Pole would be this, flag would be that. Back over the 80-bar moving average, above the flag. Rock and roll, Bitcoin. 85,000 in 3 years. This should say 3.0 now. What are we doing here? Don't be adding more time. 3 years now. We'll see what happens. Next on the block, NASDAQ with the double top. Here, wait, let's make a little arrangement here. I don't know what's going on. NASDAQ with the double top. NASDAQ hits here, right, from that double top I showed you the other day in the video. Well, we had a day going down. And so far, OMNI's pointing to the downside for trading Wednesday. The OMNI method says don't take the short NASDAQ trade, but the OMNI arrow is pointing down. So we'll have to go look at another market and see what happens there. Then there's the double top in Microsoft. Look, the top here. Now, this is a long time ago and a high top. Big smack back into that top. Now, let me show you what it's done. I'm going to blow up just this area for you. So here it is. Look at what's happened so far. I mean, Microsoft came down pretty hard, but there should be some support on the next trip lower because there has been in the past. So we'll see, but certainly it did react to that double top like it was supposed to. Then you've got the Dow. Now, the Dow, what I dislike so much about the Dow is not only did it also get itself almost to another double top, right, which would have been right across there, right? You could see that top was here, almost made it, but it came back down and got under this trend line, the green one, which it had a tough time getting above for a long time, but then it finally did. But look where we are now. So I don't like that, but I will tell you this. If you pick up the Dow Jones Transportation Average chart, and you look at that one on the daily basis, yes, they were teeing off the 50-bar moving average. Remember this chart when I showed this to you a few weeks back, or 2 weeks ago maybe? They did tee off of it, and it's rallied pretty sharply, and these 2 down days look a little scary. But we have one chart that tells us maybe we'll be all right, because there's a beautiful support channel here, which would allow the market to drop a little lower and find some legs. So let's hope it does find legs and stay inside this channel. But we will absolutely follow the OMNI arrow for at least the beginning of trading Wednesday, and we'll see what pans out. And then there's gold. Now, gold looks ugly. Bear flag, right? Below, look at, there's a thick channel here. I only made it thin so it wouldn't really get in your way. I wanted you to see the flag. But look at the size of this channel right here. It fell out of the channel. It's breaking down from a bear flag. And look at how smart this average is. And look where we are right now. Gold fans, be a little careful out there. I think you get to sell the rallies. The rest of you, hang out with me in livewithoscar.com in my free chat room. No credit cards are required. We'll talk about gold. We'll talk about what's happening in the indices, and we'll see if there's a trade we can get into. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you at livewithoscar.com.